All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Hey, everybody.
And Andrew Yang's got a new gig. That was fast. He is now going to be a commentator on CNN. We don't know the exact title or the exact position, but you know what this reminds me of, Cody? In the Olympics, it's actually really, really common that once an Olympian wins, in order, or maybe a very popular one gets omitted out of a tier or a bracket, that they will be hired immediately as a member of the media in order to comment on the rest of the competition. And there's actually these really interesting rules that you can no longer go into the Olympic Village as an athlete because now you're a member of the media. And then, you know, sometimes you get these hardcore dudes that won't join the media and won't sell out because they want to hang out with their buddies on the U.S. team. And then these other ones are like, sorry, guys, I'm out of here. I'm working for MSNBC now, you know. But it is a very interesting and oftentimes humorous revolving door. For me, I find it a little bit humorous because CNN kind of, aren't they the ones that invented John Yang?
No.
That was an MSNBC
That's actually
thing?
what I want to go through and highlight in a minute. So yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, hey, take it away. Show us how good or bad this decision is, Cody.
Yeah. Well, like everything in life, really, time will tell. However, I think it's a pretty smart move by Andrew Yang. So we'll get into it a little bit now. I'm showing this article first because I love how often this happens now, unfortunately, A, and B, I think it's funny. This is the CNN article about Andrew Yang. So it says, Andrew Yang joins CNN, i.e. the writers of this article, as a political commentator. Very good for him. Former presidential candidate Andrew Yang is joining CNN as a political commentator, the network announced Wednesday. This is the network. I guess it's I'm excited to join CNN to help shed light on the election and the candidates'
it's like a
experiences.
professional athlete.
Yang wrote in a tweet following the announcement, learned a lot these past months, and I'm glad to contribute to the public discussion.
I was going to say, when news articles fake that they're surprised about something and shroud what should be a basic press release as a news article, it seems either a basic crappy ploy for clicks, or it's kind of like when those dudes that perpetually speak in the third person in professional sports talk, you know, like, well, Bo just knew that he wanted to come and play big ball today. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, wait, aren't you Bo? And it's like, well, yeah, okay, so you're speaking, not saying I wanted to. So CNN here is like, oh, well, our correspondent says that he will be joining our organization. Wait, so isn't that you? It's like this fake speaking in the third person. And I don't know. It just bothers me. I'm done. You can take over.
Well, anyway, I mean, there's not a whole lot more to talk about here. I mean, yeah, because this is basically it. He will be joining CNN. Mostly, as far as I know, it seems immediately tonight during the debate, he will be on one of the panels. It seems to me this seems to be the kind of gig he is getting here, isn't it? Because the rest of the article, they just kind of explain who Andrew Yang is, which I'm assuming a lot of you guys watching this are familiar with who Andrew Yang is. From what I've heard, like I said, panel discussion stuff mostly tonight. We'll see during the debate when they go to, well, after 95 minutes when they have the first break in these marathon debates, they'll cut to a panel, Andrew Yang. After the debate, Andrew Yang will be there probably interviewing candidates, I'm assuming, on those big panels. I mean, they got to find a way to stuff 9 people on folding chairs in front of a camera for some reason. So he'll be one of those people as far as I understand. But as you brought up earlier, Andrew Yang has had a complicated past with the media this election cycle. From underhanded slights, overt slights, being left off things. So I went through Scott Santon's a couple of great threads he put together in his Vocal article, just cataloging a lot of individual media elements. And one thing I noticed, the CNN stuff all kind of seemed to follow a similar trail. And it's the kind of stuff that doesn't really, it's stuff that bothers me a little bit. It's a lot of stuff like this. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. It's a lot of just having a gigantic blank space on a graphic where Andrew Yang probably could have, like, there's space for 5 candidates. They just don't list them. A lot of stuff like that, you'll notice. A lot of, like, why isn't there just 6 people listed here? Why is there 5?
Especially when you're listing somebody that had less than him.
Oh, yeah.
And skipping over
one.
him. Yeah.
More of this. So I do want to highlight, it's not, CNN didn't play no role in kind of pretending Andrew Yang isn't actually running. And, Andrew Yang doesn't get any support from anyone. He's at, I guess you'd be left to think 0, right? Yeah. However, there is one more thing I kind of want to talk about with CNN.
Yeah.
Well, before this, though, can you think of any other stuff, Cardin? Like, really? Because I don't think of any big overt, like you said, the John Yang thing, that was, I believe, NBC, if not MSNBC. Okay. Like, what stands
And NBC
out?
was the silencing of the microphone.
I believe as well, yes. But like,
You know
what
what I'm
stands
saying?
out like is the big CNN
Well,
moment,
the CNN
right?
debate, he got really crappy talk time, and they're the ones that asked him the really bogus questions. Like, wasn't it the
Good point.
CNN debate where they said, "Hey, Asian-looking guy, here's a question about China," you know?
Well,
And
I think there was
then
multiple, so one of them might have been CNN. Yeah,
Yeah.
but talk time did be a problem as well throughout multiple.
and talk time was bogus. This is definitely not a what move as much as maybe if he were to go work for MSNBC. You know what I'm saying? That would be a what move. And I actually think this is relatively good, a good move for him. I think it would be very easy to say, oh, what, selling out to the media. But at the end of the day, what people forget is his net worth isn't insanely high. We did a video on this, you know?
Well, you think he's doing it for money though? I don't
No,
think he's
well,
doing
no,
it
not for money. But let's face it, now that he's not a candidate, he needs a job. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, but I think also he needs to stay in the public discourse.
And this
right?
will, of all the jobs you could have, you know, this one will definitely increase his visibility the most and his relevance the most. And if there's any aspirations, which I do believe there is, he himself said, we will be back. He kind of gave his Terminator tweet to the Yang Gang saying, look, I'm not going away. This will continue in the future. What better way to really remain in the know and help work through the establishment system, which did hinder you? It hindered his growth because people didn't take him seriously. But stay in the media long enough, go to Nerd Prom, now you're part of the system. And as long as it does not corrupt you, that is a very good move. Just don't turn into another Brian Stelter. Just don't turn into another hack. You know what I'm saying? And I think it could be a good move. That all depends on the person, though. And if somebody could pull it off, I think Andrew Yang could.
Remember, they're not giving him a 90-minute time slot. He'll be joining maybe an hour or two throughout the week just on panel discussion from what I understand his role will be. Very, not minor, but it's just one of, like I said, when they stuff 12 people on a panel, one of them will be Andrew Yang. So it's just good to kind of legitimize him, I think, to your cable news viewer. Also, I wanted to show one more thing, because remember, I said, is there any moments with CNN in particular? I remember one big one with CNN. Actually, it kind of stood out to me at the time, very much so. Let's go back to November 25th, when Andrew Yang actually announced his boycott of MSNBC, which, by the way, I think him walking back the boycott without getting an apology was a major flub. Not going to talk about more than that. Just want to bring it up. Anyway, he went to CNN to do a live hit. Now, this was him appearing on CNN, this following quote. So he said, Americans tuned into the debate earlier this week, and they saw I got called on less than any other candidate, including candidates I am virtually polling high, or I'm polling higher than. And the questions I did get had virtually nothing to do with the core ideas of my campaign. He goes on to mention that I'm not the kind of guy who takes offenses easily, but at this point you have to call it like you see it. Adding that he'd like to know the rationale behind MSNBC's suppressing and ignoring me in my campaign for months. They go on to mention about the boycott MSNBC hashtag, but this was on CNN when he wanted to go to the media and say, hey, I am boycotting MSNBC. I'm not standing for their treatment.
Yeah.
He went to CNN to say it. So there was a little bit of a past. Also, Van Jones been very, very, very overwhelmingly positive to Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
So once he said he went to CNN to be a commentator, I was like, that actually does make sense, because I don't know what the behind the scenes stuff is, but this moment clearly told me that. And he viewed CNN as kind of a more friendly outlet. Maybe he was just trying to really get at MSNBC by going to the competition, but I don't know. Generally speaking, it's kind of telling whether it's an athlete, a politician, whoever, what media outlet they go to get their message out to generally tells me a lot about how they view their standing with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I also think it's probably going to be a good move for CNN. But then again, we keep imposing our own psychology upon the executives at CNN. But they have been drenched in a 95% negative coverage of Donald Trump that had short-term gains in his first year of his presidency, but have really cost them in the ratings. Their ratings are abysmal now. And also the impeachment trial just did not end up paying dividends for the New York Times or for CNN or for any of these mainstream outlets that they thought it would, because most people were just fed up with it by the time it came along. And so I think similar to Fox News, how they've really been trying to rebrand as, you know, we started out as kind of more a right-wing source, but we're definitely trying to gravitate towards the middle. That's why they hired Donna Brazile. That's why they hired all of these left-wing commentators. Obviously, they're still controlling the market share of right-wing commentary, but they definitely have tried to move their credibility towards the center. I wouldn't be surprised if CNN starts trying to do the same thing. And they're probably going to start trying to do the same thing by hiring moderate Republicans, hiring people that are kind of more middle of the road guys, at least in terms of temperament and personality, such as Andrew Yang. It's a credibility move, in my opinion, that in this case I think is good.
Yeah, well, also, though, I don't want to overthink too much. Like, it's a big coup for CNN to have a former
presidential
candidate
yeah.
talking about the primary. It's like when they have him on the talking debate tonight, they can literally say, you were on the last debate stage. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I think that's more of it. It's just someone close to the election they could grab. And I think for Andrew, he views CNN as a network that he has had okay relations with, and it's good for him to get his... It will do. Honestly, it's kind of goofy, but let me know in the comments what you think about this. I believe there will be people watching CNN's debate coverage tonight, and seeing Andrew Yang on the panel discussing the debate will legitimize him more in people's minds than seeing him on the debate stage did. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it will. It's like, oh, he's on TV.
That's
he must be
sad
important.
Truth.
Yeah, like CNN hired him.
That is such a sad truth, man.
And before we end, one last thing I want to make sure we touch on. Because Andrew Yang has been teasing and talking about this big announcement for a while now. So I wanted to show you this, according to Zach Grumman. So on Twitter, somebody asked if this was the big announcement. Honestly, I kind of thought, oh, it's a pretty big announcement. He's going to be commentator on, cable news. But according to Zach Grumman, not only is it not the announcement, he dropped, 3 of the best letters in the English language, said, LOL, no. So it appears to keep your eyes open and continue to expect something from Andrew in the future, or the Andrew Yang campaign, I guess. They suspended it, but you know what I mean. That the organizational structure that was called the Andrew Yang campaign previously seems to still have something they're waiting to announce.
What's Zach Grumman going to do? Does he have to go back to modeling underwear, or what?
He was
going back to Abercrombie and Fitch.
No, I
or
thought
what?
he was a finance guy who had a nonprofit he ran.
No, I knew that he was. Well, he self-proclaims as a Wall Street guy that gave up his career to help Andrew Yang as a.
But anyway, he does something. I don't know.
He looks like an underwear model.
Tell you what, he got somebody from 0% to almost every debate stage and like 6-7% nationally. He'll probably have a job somewhere doing something.
Yeah. So Zach, look, I got friends that are agents in Hollywood, bro. Don't waste that face, baby. We'll get you another gig, man. So anyway, let us know what you guys think. Do you like him becoming a member of the media? Did you like him more outside of it? Please opine below. If you haven't had a chance yet, make sure you like and you subscribe to this video. If you want to join the channel, that's really an inexpensive way of making sure that we keep these videos coming without any kind of corporate influencers or sponsors tainting our vision and our analysis. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll see you guys in the next video.